We're speaking with Dieter Dudy, who is an incumbent candidate in this fall's civic election in Kamloops, running for City Council again. Dieter, are there any social justice causes you're personally involved and active in, or at least interested in?
I'm a strong advocate for food security. I would like to be more involved in homelessness action because it's a very serious problem. I recognize that as a councillor, I don't necessarily have the influence that it takes to do something about it, but I can certainly be a lobbying voice with the province and the federal government. Those are the things that I'm actively participating in, plus the advancement of agriculture within our community and things like that.
Do you support a living wage for all working people?
Oh, by all means. I mean, I think you need it. You would be short-sighted not to recognize that if you have a living wage, you're going to have an increased tax base, you're going to have better economic conditions for everybody.
Food banks first appeared in Canada in the early 80s, and their usage has only increased since then. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty difficult question to answer because there's so many things that come into play there. But obviously, as a society, we haven't done enough to ensure that everybody has food. I am of the personal belief that no single person in this country should go hungry. In fact, I find it's criminal that they do. We produce enough food, or could produce enough food, to make certain that everybody can eat. I, for instance, as a farmer within our community, give away thousands of pounds of vegetables to our food bank or food share system on an annual basis, and there's no reason why this should be happening.
What do you think is Council's role when faced with epidemics like the fentanyl crisis or the lack of affordable housing?
Again, because it's actually out of our particular mandate, we are a strong lobbying voice. We need to work with the agencies and with the provincial and federal governments to ensure that something's being done to protect our citizens from the opiate crisis and or homelessness and any of the other issues that happen to be there.
And what would you do on council specifically to help eliminate homelessness?
Well, continue to be a voice, with respect to promoting some sort of a vision to the provincial government and saying, we need to address this. Again, there's no definitive answer here. It's something that involves having the political will to continue to speak to the powers that be. I hate to say this, and it's not like I'm abdicating any responsibility, but everybody looks to us for the answers when in fact we can't deliver the goods. But what we can do, as not just myself individually, but with the rest of the council, is to ensure that those people that are in a position to do something about it hear from us on a regular basis.
You sort of answered the next one, but I'll ask it anyway. What do you think is a city councillor's job when faced with controversial development projects like Ajax?
Our job, again, it's something that's out of the control of the city. In fact, I addressed this at UBCM just recently, feeling that we as a council on behalf of the community should have a say in whether projects like that come into our community. And it could be positive and or negative as far as our response goes. The point is we don't have that self-determination right now, and I think that's something that we need to go towards.
What do you think is a reasonable income for a top earner in our society?
For a top earner? Again, I suppose if I were a capitalist, I'd say the sky's the limit. But again, how much money do you actually need? I don't know. I'm comfortable living the way I do, and I wouldn't consider myself as part of the 1%. How much money does any individual need? So, could be $1 million, could be $1 billion. I mean,
well, who do you think should be earning these top incomes?
To be honest, I think healthcare providers, I think food producers, I think people that are actually doing something to make a difference in our society. I'm not certain that hockey players and movie stars should be earning the type of income they do, but then again, you look at it from the point of view that they're plying a trade that involves bringing great big dollars into an individual organization, and why should they not share in it? So there are two sides to the coin.
What are your thoughts on the current state of public transit and transportation infrastructure in Kamloops?
You know, in all fairness, I can't answer that because I don't use transit. I live far enough outside of the city that I continually have to use my own vehicle, and I'm not serviced by transit. It would be nice if we were serviced by transit. I'm not out of the city, but at the outskirts of it. So to give you a qualified answer would mean that I should actually ride the bus once in a while. My understanding is that we are considered in the province as about the first, if not the second best transit system in BC, and yet there are a number of people who feel that it's inadequate.
Yeah, best is pretty subjective. Full disclosure, I worked in public transit,
Right.
and what the first usually replies to the most ridership per capita usage.
Right.
So it's I never heard the word best used when they described it.
Well, it's effectively the answer that I'd gotten.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But it comes down to that.
Okay. What are your what do you hope Kamloops will look like in 20 years?
As vibrant, if not more vibrant, than it is today. I'd like to see Kamloops continue with its tournament capital moniker. I'd like to see Kamloops embrace the arts and culture to a greater extent, so that we have more balance here. I'd like to see more livability, probably more walking, more cycling, less reliance on vehicular traffic, more park space. But at the same time also embracing all sorts of economic development that is generational, so that we're not looking at something that's only in the last 20 years. We're looking at things that our grandchildren's grandchildren are going to be able to enjoy.
And once elected, re-elected, what will your top priority be? Are there any burning issues you want to see resolved or finally addressed?
Well, actually, the three main issues, and obviously the two, one is the opioid crisis and homelessness and affordable housing. But on top of that, I think, is economic development. We've got the Ajax issue out of the way. Kinder Morgan is one of those big things that sort of lays in the back there that is now Trans Mountain, that we're out of control of that. But we, as a city, have the ability to attract some extremely good business within this community, and I think that's probably top of mind for me.
Thanks for your time.
Okay,
Good luck,
thank
Dieter.
you.